my name's Amy McCarthy and I'm one of the Devon Learning Recovery tutors based in Timlin. We're going to do a basic Learn to Knit course. I'm a big fan of knitting. I've been knitting since I was a small child and it's been a very good friend to me through the years. It's great for keeping your hands busy. If you're watching telly in the evening, you're trying not to comfort eat or possibly smoke or any negative behaviours. And also it's very good for calming your mind, bringing you into the present moment and really just thinking about the next stitch and the next row. And also you get to make something that is practical, useful. Eventually you'll be able to make a hat or a garment of clothing. Okay, so you're going to need some basics to learn to knit. You're going to need some wool. You're going to need some knitting needles. They come in various sorts. Older style ones are plastic or metal, but now bamboo and wooden ones are very popular. So now we're ready to cast on our knitting. You need to, with the Longtail method of casting on, you need to leave a nice long bit of wool here, which will come apparent why in a moment, and we need to learn to make a slip knot. So we're going to make a loop like this, with your ball of wool on the right and your tail coming over to the left, and then you bring the piece of wool behind and then we can pull this to make a slip knot. Take your needle and just tighten it onto the needle. There we go. And we've got our first stitch, so I'll show you that again. You make a loop with your wool, pass the tail of the wool up behind so that it's cutting the loop in half. Pull that piece through with your fingers, just like that. Put it on your needle. Okay, so now we're ready to start knitting. So now we've got our first stitch on the needle. We're going to take our left hand. We're only going to use one needle to cast on with the Longtail method. And we're going to put the wool across the palm of our hands and grasp that. And now we've got our thumb up, like a thumbs up. We're going to take the piece of wool with our right hand and put it in front of our thumb. And hold it there with your first finger. Now you take the needle, tap the front of your fleshy thumb area here and push that through. Then you take the wool in your other hand and that comes round the back of the needle, and then you take the wool underneath on the needle and pop it off your thumb and use the tail of the wool to pull. Okay, let's do that again. Take the wool in your left hand, take it in front of your thumb and wrap it round. Now take the needle of the right hand, tap it to the front of your thumb, slide it underneath, and take the piece of wool in your right hand and take it behind your thumb, between your thumb and the needle, like that, and then take your right needle underneath your thumb to make a loop. Then you take your long tail here and just pull that when you've got another stitch. So we just keep doing this for however many stitches we want to make. Once we've cast on all of the stitches we want, we're going to start knitting. We've got the tail of our wool that we used to cast on, but now we're going to take our knitting from the ball of wool. So the right hand needle is taking the stitches from the left hand needle to create a new row of stitches. So take your right hand needle and you find the space between the first stitch and the second stitch, and we go from the front of the stitch through the loop to the back. We take the wool in our right hand and we go behind and round the right hand needle, and then we take the right hand needle and we pull it down and through and pop the stitch off the left hand needle, and we've made our first stitch. So this is the basics of knitting. Again, we go to the first stitch and the stitch behind it, find the space between, and then push the knitting needle through. Take the wool with the right hand round the back of the needle and down, and then push the right needle under and through, and you've got another stitch. And basically we keep doing this process till we get to the end. Push the right hand needle through, take the wool round the back, push the right hand needle under, through the loop, and pop the stitch off. And again, you go between the first two stitches, push the right hand needle through so it comes behind the left hand needle, take the wool behind the right hand needle, create a loop, push the right hand needle underneath and through. And this is what we keep doing till we get to the end of the row. Try not to pull it too tight. We want these to be able to move along. You want to be able to get your needle into that space. If you make it really tight, then it gets very hard to get the needle through. And that is an area of knitting where we discuss the tension, but we're way off that now. Now, I know it feels weird and it takes a while to get used to, but after a while your muscles sort of create a muscle memory and knitting becomes quite straightforward. Now then, as you approach the end of the row, the last needle can sometimes come off. Don't worry, just slip it back on. And you know, you are going to have mistakes. If it all goes wrong, you might have to pull it out and start again. But for now, we've created our first row of knitting, which is a pretty good achievement. And then we turn the left hand needle around. Again, the left hand needle is carrying all the stitches, and you can begin your second row. So the right hand needle goes behind the left hand needle, take the wool in your right hand, create the loop, push the knitting needle through, find the space between the two stitches, and again push your knitting needle through, round, through, and you are on your way to knitting your first scarf or square, and you can just keep going. Obviously, if everything goes wrong, you can just pull it all out.